Hi folks, welcome back to 10.3 Hyperbolas, and we are in the third video of this section. Alright, so we're going to take a look at question number 6 here, and we're going to use the equation that's given, and I'm going to write it down below because this looks very much like the questions we had with the ellipses, where we had to complete the square not once but twice. Okay. So as I rewrite it down here, I'm going to group my x's, so 9x squared minus 36x, and my y's, minus 4y squared minus 40y equals 388. Okay, so now that I've grouped my x's and y's, I'm going to factor just like I did for the ellipses. So 9x squared minus 4x minus 4. Now be careful here because we're actually factoring out a negative 4. So y squared plus 10y equals 388. All right. Now I'm going to complete the square. 9 x minus half of 4 is 2 minus 2 squared minus 4 times half of 10 is 5 minus 5 squared equals 388. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to distribute back in. Ooh, not quite long enough. All the way to that one. Okay. So 9x minus 2 squared minus 9 times 4 is 36. Minus 4 times y minus 5 squared minus 4 times 25 is 100, but that's actually a plus 100. All right, now I'm going to move the 36 and the 100 to the other side. Okay, and last step, I'm going to divide everything by the 324 to make my equation equal to 1. All right, so this is going to be the equation that we use to help us figure out our situation. Now, I can already tell that this is a minus sign, so it's a hyperbola, and the x squared comes first, so it's going to be like a side-to-side opening hyperbola. All right, so let's go back up and write down some important information. We know it's a hyperbola. I'm going to go ahead and write the equation up here, so we have it. X minus 2 squared over 6 squared minus y plus 5 squared over 9 squared equals 1. All right. Now let's find our center. Okay. We don't want to make the same mistake that we did in the last one. We want to make sure they're in XY order, and they are. So it's 2, negative 5. So 2, negative 5. Okay. Now, with the hyperbolas, I like to draw everything before I find the vertices so that it helps me know which direction I'm going. But in this case, for our vertices, we're going to go whichever is side to side because that x squared comes first. So I know from this center point I can go to the side 6 units, and I can go to the other side 6 units. Okay? And so that will be 2 plus or minus 6, negative 5, or negative 4, negative 5, and 8, negative 5. All right. Now to find the co-vertices, that means that I'm going to go from my center, I'm going to go up and down 9. So that's going to be 2, negative 5 plus or minus 9. So that will give me 2, negative 14 and 2, 4. All right, so 2 comma 4 is going to be here, and 2 comma negative 14 is going to be off the graph, but that's okay. We can kind of estimate it's going to be down here somewhere. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw the box that will help me draw the asymptotes. Okay, and then I'm going to draw my asymptotes going through the diagonals and the center, and through the diagonal and through the center. Okay, and I know from earlier, I already decided that because this x squared was in the front, I knew my hyperbola was going to open side to side. So I can kind of sketch it here, and here, and here, and here. All right, now what's missing? Well, we need to find where our foci are. So foci for the hyperbola is c squared equals a squared plus b squared, because c is greater than a for a hyperbola. So c squared is going to give me 36 plus 81. This is going to give me a c value of the square root of 117. All right, so we're going to be adding and subtracting this root 17 to the x value of the coordinate because I'm going side to side. So 2 plus or minus root 117, comma, the original coordinate, y coordinate of the center. Now, if I type this into my calculator to help me graph it better, I'm going to get negative 8.82, comma, negative 5, and 12.82, comma, negative 5. All right, so that's going to take me to 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 9, and again, this is going to take me off the graph here, so maybe I should have counted by 2s. That probably would have been better on my grid. All right, but our last piece here is just to write the equation of the asymptotes. So for our asymptotes, you want to think plus and minus rise over run of x minus h, which in this case is going to be 2, and then minus my k, which is going to be 5. All right, now my rise over run in this case, the rise is going to be 3 over the run is 2, x minus 2 minus 5. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it like that. If you want to simplify it, you're more than welcome to, but again, you don't need to. Let's zoom out here so you get the whole picture before we move on. All right, so we're going to finish up here with question number 7. Another completing the square problem. So let's group. We've got 9y squared minus 36y minus x squared plus 12x equals, move the 36. Okay, let's factor. 9y squared minus 4y minus 1 x squared minus 12x equals 36. All right, let's complete the square. 9 times y minus half of 4 is 2 squared, minus 2 squared, minus x minus half of 12 is 6 squared, minus 6 squared, equals 36. All right, let's distribute back in that minus sign on the second one. Squared minus 36 minus x minus 6 squared plus 36 equals 36. Now I'm going to move everything to the other side, so like this 36 and that 36 will move. Will give me 36 on the other side. And we're going to divide by 36. Over, I'm just going to write this as 2 squared minus x minus 6 squared over 6 squared equals 1. All right, let's write this equation up at the top and figure out our important information. Y minus 2 squared. Okay, this is going to be a hyperbola opening up and down. Over 6 squared equals 1. All right, my center is going to be 6, 2 because the x value has to come first. Now I'm going to jump right to my vertices. So I know from my center I'm going to go up and down 2 because that is where it is underneath the y. Okay, the value underneath the y tells me how far I go up and down. All right, that's going to give me 6, 0 and 6, 2, 4. All right, co-vertices. So from my center, I'm going to add and subtract 6. That's going to give me 0, 2 and 12, 2. All right, so 0, 2 and 12, 2. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw the box. And again, that box helps me draw my asymptotes a little bit more accurately. That one is definitely not accurate. And this one, okay. Now I said earlier that this was going to be opening up and down because the y squared came first. Okay, let's find our foci. So c squared equals a squared plus b squared because c is greater than a. And so I'm going to get c squared equals 4 plus 36, or c equals the square root of 40. That means that I'm going to keep the x value of my center, and to the y value I'm going to add and subtract square root of 40. And when I turn these into decimals, this will give me 6, negative 4.3 and 6, 8.3. So I've got a negative 4.3 and an 8.3. And so I can see that these foci are pretty far out from the center, and that's okay. All right, we've got one last thing to find for number 7, and that is the equations of the asymptotes. So y equals plus or minus, the rise here is 2, the run is 6, and then x minus 6 plus 2. And I can simplify that to say plus or minus 1/3 x minus 6 plus 2, and it's okay to leave the equations like that. All right, folks, we're going to stop here. We've got one last video coming up, so come on back for part 4. See you there.